Hey everyone, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly, and in front of you is the Motorola Atrix. This is the first cell phone to come out with dual-core processing. It's got a 1 gigahertz NVIDIA Tegra dual-core processor, and it has 1 gigabyte of processor RAM. The two of those make this a very, very fast phone. And if you look at the front panel here on the display, I've got the Smart Bench and the Quadrant benchmark tests ready to go. I'm going to do those in a little bit. But first I want to talk about some other stuff regarding the Motorola Atrix. This has a 4-inch diagonal display with a resolution of 540 by 960 pixels. That makes the makes the Atrix right at this moment the highest resolution of any Android cell phone. Now the Apple iPhone 4 is 640 by 960, so the iPhone 4 has a little higher resolution, but the iPhone 4 packs that into a 3.5-inch display. The 4-inch display, I think, is a sweeter spot for a cell phone display. So you might ask, okay, it's got a big screen, a 4-inch screen in it. How big is it? Here is the Atrix compared to a credit card. So you can see what its size is compared to a credit card. And if you want to rack up some charges on this account, just be sure to tell them your name is your name here. Now, here's what it looks like compared to a Samsung Vibrant. This is a T-Mobile phone. The Vibrant, of course, is one of the Samsung Galaxy S phones. And if you take a look at these compared side by side, the Vibrant is longer, and also the Vibrant is wider. If I line the two up carefully, you can just barely see that the Vibrant is ever so slightly wider. When you hold them in your hand, it's pretty easy to tell. Now, the Vibrant is a little slimmer, a little thinner, but all in all, I'd say that the package that the Atrix is in is a very nice package. Now, one other thing about this display, I mentioned that it's 540 by 960, and the resolution looks absolutely gorgeous. This is called a QHD display. I'm not exactly sure what the QHD stand for. I assume that the HD is high definition, and it is a beautiful high definition screen for a cell phone. It's also very bright. I had it outside and shot a little video, which I'll talk about in a moment, and it was easy to see in the kind of weak hazy sunlight that I was in outside. So that kind of surprised me. I was surprised at just how visible it was. Now, this is a Motorola phone, so of course it uses Motorola Blur interface. That's the user interface. It's got my Facebook stuff on the screen here, my email account, and as you go around, there's other blur features. Here's a gallery. It's a photo I took. Now, this will give you some idea of just how pretty the resolution is. I don't know how close I can hold that, and you can see, but that is really nice. I'll talk more about that picture in a moment. But I'm very impressed. Let me talk about some of the other features I mentioned. It's the 1 gigahertz dual-core NVIDIA Tegra processor, and it has 1 gigabyte of processor RAM. It also has 16 gig of internal storage in the phone. There's a micro SD slot, but there is nothing in the micro SD slot. The Atrix comes with the SD slot empty. So if you want to put a micro SD card in there, you can. It'll take up to a 32 gig micro SD card. If you put a 32 gig card in here, you'll have 48 gig in the Motorola Atrix. That is a lot of storage. There's a 5 megapixel camera on the back. It has a dual LED flash. It's capable of taking 720p HD video. My understanding is that with an upgrade, I have no idea when the upgrade will be available, it can also do 1080p HD video. As it comes out of the box, it'll do 720p. The 1080p, I understand, is with an upgrade. Some of the other features, it has Android 2.2. It is a 4G phone using AT&T's GSM network. That's the HSPA Plus technology that tops out at 14.4 megabits per second. Now, I tried to do some online speed tests, and while I do have network connectivity, you can see I've got an H+ up there and I have a couple of bars. My connection speeds here have been very slow, so that is probably related to the location I'm in. We just don't seem to get really fast network connection speeds here at the Wirefly building. Looking around the phone, you have a standard 3.5mm audio jack. This is the on-off switch, and it also is some sort of fingerprint sensor that you can use for fingerprint security. I didn't set that up because other people might be using this phone, but my understanding is that there is a fingerprint lockout that you can do that uses that little touch button right there. And again, that's the on-off button, as well as putting the phone to sleep. On this side, whoops, you have your standard micro USB connector. Next to that is a micro HDMI connector. And the really good news is that Motorola gives you in the box the cable that connects to that. So you can plug that cable into this and then plug it into your TV and view the Atrix on your TV. The cable comes with the phone. If you went to Best Buy, that'd be a $40 cable. So that is the tour around. Oh, on this side here, we have your standard volume up-down rocker. That's the tour around the phone. Getting the back cover off is a little tricky. You have to grip it like this from the front and hope it doesn't fly out of your fingers, and then try to peel it away here. Once you get the hang of it, it's not too hard, but I'm still getting the hang of it. Underneath the back cover is something very interesting. The battery in the Motorola Atrix is the biggest in any cell phone. It is a 1,930 milliamp hour battery. That's a really big battery. Compare that to the HTC the HTC Thunderbolt. That has a 1,400 milliamp hour battery. This is 1,930, much bigger battery. Now this is the micro SD card that I put in. None came with the phone, but I put that in, and it had previously been in another Motorola phone. So when I put it in here, all my music and pictures and everything were still on it. I can view those from the Atrix. And of course, that's my AT&T SIM card that you're going to need to fire up the Atrix. So I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on. Not hard at all to get the cover back on. And I want to talk about the photos that I took with the Motorola Atrix. I took a few photos at my desk and of some of my coworkers. And as we take a look at the photos, first one was a little still life, you get some idea. And then I held the camera much closer to that still life, and I was very impressed at the focus and the colors. The yellow, green, blue, and red all show up very nice. Take a look at the close-up of the dime. The focus is very sharp. And this is in a location where I had very little light. Then I went outside, then I took a picture of a couple of my coworkers. That's Luis on the left and Jen on the right, to see what the flesh tones are like. I have a lot of light streaming in behind them, so it's not an optimum choice, but it definitely gives a good test. And I thought the flesh tones were okay. The focus was pretty good on the faces. Other phones I've had tended to focus on the background, but that was pretty good on the faces. Then I went outside and I was a little disappointed with the phone's camera work outside. It definitely didn't focus very well on the holly bush and the sunlight. I would have thought it would have focused very sharply. So that's a look at the photos outside, the photos that I took with the camera. I also shot some video, and let's go ahead and roll that video now. This is a video test with the Motorola Atrix. We're looking at some berries on a holly bush. And that is the Wirefly building. It's a cold spring day in March with some breeze. Some cars are driving by. There's the two cars. Some haze in the sky, but it is kind of sunny. In another month or so, there'll be leaves on those trees. And that's a quick look at the video from the Motorola Atrix. And as you saw in the video, the focus was soft when it started out. I was holding the camera about 2 or 3 inches away from the leaves there and the berries. Once I pulled it back a little bit, it focused very quickly, and I thought it had a very nice quality video once I was looking at a distant object, the building, and also the colors looked good, and I thought the audio was pretty good too. Not the best audio I've heard, but not at all bad. So that is a look at the Motorola Atrix in terms of its photographic and video capability. It also has a front camera right here, that front camera, let's go back there for just a moment. The front camera, you can get to it by pulling this out and selecting the front right there. And it's a VGA quality front camera. There you can see me talking and talking about the Motorola Atrix. Hi there, everybody. Hope you're not too scared. So that little toggle there takes you from the front camera to the back camera. And now we'll go back to the back camera and turn it off. So that is a kind of overview and look at the all the features of the Motorola Atrix. Now I'm going to go ahead and run the benchmarks because got some pretty good results with those. First up will be Quadrant. I want to take a quick peek at the system information. Of course, we're running Android 2.2.1. The CPU, it really doesn't know what's going on with the CPU, but it shows a heck of a lot of MIPS here, almost 2,000 MIPS. That's a heck of a lot of MIPS. Here's the memory. Total memory is pretty nice. I said it was 1 gig of RAM, and there we have it says 837. The display resolution 540 by 960, and the refresh rate is 64 Hertz. As you get above 60, that makes for a smoother refresh rate, and video and so forth on the phone will look smoother as that number goes above 60. So that's very good. Let's go ahead and run the full benchmark. You've all seen this run before. I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off and come back to this when we'll pick it up at the end to see what the results are. Okay, this is the last of the graphics tests in Quadrant. Now it's asking if I want to get the benchmarks, and I certainly do get the results. And here we go. It's very hard to see because they make the print so tiny here, but it had got a result of 2070. I think that's 2070. Boy, that's hard to see. So 2070. Very nice score. I think that is the highest score I've gotten on a cell phone in the Quadrant test. 2070. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and run the Smart Bench test. Here we go with Smart Bench. Run it, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come back when the test is just about complete. Okay, this is the last of the tests in Smart Bench, and it's going to ask if I want the results, and of course I want the results. Takes a little time to do the handshaking to get the results. Probably because my networking speed is so slow. It indicates that I should be getting the 4G speed, but I'm definitely not getting 4G speed. And here we go. Of course, Smart Bench gives you two results. One is called the Productivity Index, and the other is called the Games Index. This got 2,750 in the Productivity Index and 2406 in games. So that's 2,406 in games and 2,750 in the Productivity Index. Those are really, really good scores. They compare very favorably with the other items that you see here on the screen. All of those are brand new, fast, hot, steaming phones, including the Motorola Zoom. So a stock Motorola Zoom, the Atrix is essentially about the same score as the Motorola Zoom. And of course, the Motorola Zoom runs Android 3.0. So very good scores, very impressive scores. I think that tops my leaderboard for both Smart Bench and Quadrant. One other thing about the Motorola Zoom, the Motorola Atrix that I want to mention, of course, the Atrix famously has a docking station, and it can slip into that dock, and then it has a big screen and a keyboard, and you can use it as a computer. Unfortunately, I don't have a dock, so I can't test that out. But I was very impressed with the Motorola Atrix. It has a beautiful screen, very, very nice screen. The response is as good as any other Android phone I've ever used. If you go into the apps here, it works very smoothly. You can go into any app and it works quickly and just like absolutely as smooth as silk. So I'm very pleased with the feel and the operation of the Motorola Atrix. This is going to want me to set up something here, so I'm just going to go back. And I really like the higher resolution on the screen. It'd be really nice if they could at least get it up to the iPhone 4's resolution, but this is the new resolution leader among cell phones, and it really looks beautiful. So this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with the Motorola Atrix. Thanks for watching.